I got the recipe, never gonna let any op get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but hey, this is next to me. Talk to the spirit, you know I've been heavenly. Company definitely show your trajectory. This ain't it, this cause I say it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we are here today to discuss The Chi. This is season 6, episode 4, and it was titled ReUp. But before we get started though, make sure you guys subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell and the alert button so that you get a notification every time that we post. Obviously, we want y'all to support the channel, and y'all have been doing such a great job of doing that. We truly appreciate everyone who has. But also, like the video, all of your support helps, and we definitely, love the viewership and the support that we've gotten so far. But keep it rolling, guys.
Get out.
Yes, indeed. So today we are talking The Chi, like I said. I guess this would be considered mid-season since we're doing 8 episodes for this first half of the storyline this season. So Douda looked like he about to be in the hot seat. He was already in the hot seat at the beginning of the episode, but this was a different kind of hot seat.
He was sure in the hot shower. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Him and Bianca were getting steamy.
Y'all got to help me out with Roselyn. I mean, Roselyn is one cool chick. I mean, I know they must have some sort of arrangement or whatever going on, but Roselyn, I don't know if I could trust somebody that cool.
Yes, you always got to keep one eye open.
I mean, listen, I aspire to be that level of unbothered. I am so impressed at how unbothered she is.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy, but she does still look out for Otis, surprisingly. Even though they didn't have their issues, she's still doing a good job of keeping her eyes open, because she brings this information to him like, well, Q was an FBI informant, and that has serious implications considering you killed him. So yeah, Feds might be hot on his trail coming up soon.
Go
ahead, Ron.
Well, it's interesting though, because we didn't, I don't know if I would have expected that from Q to be a FBI informant. I didn't see it. I don't know if there was little trinkets left to give us any idea, but I didn't see it. So it's interesting to find out that he actually was an FBI informant. And I don't think it would have mattered much to do that anyway. He wanted to kill him. He would have probably done so. I mean, even with that knowledge, he would have done so.
He was bad for business. So, yeah. I mean.
Yeah. And sometimes people that are FBI informants, they get emboldened to do certain things because they feel like they have the protection. And Q was one of those people. Like, he was out here doing some crazy stuff towards the end of his tenure on the show. He was just kind of, wilding with it, and he seemingly got away with it for the most part. So I think that's why Otis was like, he really had to go, unbeknownst to him, who was out here protecting him. But I thought it was interesting how Roselyn wrote Victor back into this.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it's so much that comes with being associated with Douda.
But Douda gotta go. And I mean, she didn't have to rope him back into it because he was involved. I mean, Douda roped him into it.
That's
and
what I
Yeah. So yeah, he's in a tough position.
But I think that also really shows Roselyn's strength too, because I don't know if she had to really say anything to Victor, because Victor being in the position that he's in certainly isn't going to incriminate himself. So, but she just showed up and told him to sit down. I got something to say. And she just basically told him to keep his mouth shut.
But I think that was a good reminder for Q though, because I'm sorry for Vic though, because we know Vic doesn't have the warm and cuddlies for Otis. He's not really feeling him right now. And so that could have been motivation. The fact that so many people have issues with Otis, that could have been motivation for Victor to be like, look, I know something about him, and this is what you can use to get him out the way. Even if he was an accomplice, he could try to distance himself from that killing and just give Otis up. And you see later on when Rob came and was asking about it, the fact that Rod stopped in there first, Nick was like, let me keep my mouth shut.
For real now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a reminder of if Douda goes down, he goes down too. Because
Exactly.
you're an accomplice.
Right.
Yeah.
Or accessory after the fact, whatever. But yeah, I think she went by to see him to see what he was made of, to see like, you know, we know that Vic was a street dude and everything like that. And I think he's solid either way. He's not a snitch.
No.
But I think she needed to put eyes on him and had that conversation with him to make sure, like, you know, let me see how you gonna handle this.
Absolutely.
She's boss lady, so I guess whatever goes, it goes through Roselyn. So that's what I got.
You see, Bianca already knew her. I mean, they
right.
changed. She was like Roselyn. She was like Bianca. I'm like, okay, so they know of each other.
Right.
Yeah. And shout out to Jill Marie Jones. It's good to see her on the show.
Yes.
It's funny to see her in a serious role too.
Yeah, aka Tony from Girlfriends.
Yes, indeed. But you know, speaking of more people who have gotten roped in with Otis, you know, there's these weapons that are packaged up in this bag that Otis was supposed to give to a client, but the client never showed. So now he's just stuck holding all of these weapons, and he has obviously FBI eyes on him. So he got to find somewhere for these guns to go. And I was so disappointed when I seen Shad accepting the money from Otis, because he was like, this is gonna be a one-time thing. But then nothing with Otis is a one-time thing.
No.
And particularly, he give you a stack like that. You gotta know that couldn't have been just for fixing the car.
Yeah.
And
so I was disappointed at first, but I was proud of him in the end when he held his own and he was like, nah, I got to get up out of here.
He stood tall.
Well, he did.
Trouble.
Well, I mean, you know, look, you can overpay me for a job if you want. That's your business. And I did like the fact that when he was introduced in that gun situation, those guns, he said, no, let me step out of here. That was number one. And then he did it again the second time. Now, I don't know how many times you can deny Douda, but you know.
You saying what my son said. My son was like, there's so many times that, you know, you're going to get a chance to turn someone down like that.
Exactly.
And Bakari said that he was going to go talk to him, but you know, I think that he's not going to be able to do but so much to persuade Rashad. I think that you know, that positive reinforcement he's been receiving from the guys group, which we're going to talk about a little later. But I think that that's kind of helping him to stand firm in his stance to stay out of trouble.
I hope so. You know, it was that scene the second time when he walked in, and my thought was, what are you doing in the first place? You know, if you didn't know Douda was there, when you saw him, you should have split. But you know, you sat down, you took his drink, and you had to have known Douda is going to try to entice you into something else. And you know, and even though he was able to stand strong, like you said, Tiff, he was able to stand strong, but there's a weakness I see in him because he does, you know, he's in a catch-22 situation. He wants to be the man and prove to his girl that he's got it, that he can, you know, he can stand on his own 2 feet. I understand that, and that's a good thing. And the other thing is, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any money. He's not, you know, there's nothing out there for him. And the unfortunate part about, you know, the recidivism rate and people going back to jail is because of that very thing. They come out and there's nothing for them. So it's so easy for them to get, you know, sucked back in because, I mean, after all, a man wants to be a man. And if he's a good man, he wants to try to, you know, prove to his family and friends that he's got it like that. So he's in a catch-22 situation, and hopefully he can maintain himself. But I don't know. I think some weakness is going to, well, if it already hadn't already, it's going to set in.
And if it's not weakness, it might just be desperation.
Yeah, because I felt for him. Out of everybody had, you know, legit problems in that men's group. I know we're going to delve into that more in the recap, but I felt for him the most because when he said, I would love to have any of y'all problems. I mean, y'all have careers, this, that, and the other and stuff. And here I'm coming out of jail. I don't have anything. I don't have a job, you know. I really felt for him.
Yeah, I did too. So I'm just hoping Shad can, maintain his stance. But, like y'all said, you turn down Otis too many times and bad stuff starts happening, as we about to see with Stanley. So Stanley, he didn't turn.
Yes, I was gonna say that. I was like, I think we know who's gonna be in the box.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, Tiff. I think he didn't. I think he gave his last sermon on the mount because
yeah.
He
And
was
Douda was like,
too
take
much
care
to
of him.
Yeah.
And Nuck was like,
Nuck,
say
say
less.
less.
I was
Yep.
like, oh no, Papa Stanley about to check out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too because he was really spitting truth, talking about the lion coming in to, try to attack the flock, and that's exactly what Otis is. And I guess he was like, I can't have this dude influencing the neighborhood like this.
That was a bold sermon.
It was a bold sermon.
And stuff. It was a bold sermon. And he was right. He was right. And one of the things, early predictions, something that my son said, and I agree with him. We were talking about it, and he was like, to defeat Douda, they're gonna all have to come together. To, I don't know, they come together and take him down or whatever, because, just one person, he will see it coming. So the community, like everybody is going to have issues with him. Like, we can see the beginning of the issues with Emmett, because he's caught in a bad situation. Darnell wants to protect Emmett. So he's going to have a vested interest in taking Douda down. Bakari, Vic, everybody, Douda, Tiff and Rob want to get away from him, and plus he killed Rob's uncle. Everybody is going to have a vested interest in taking Douda down. So in order to get rid of him, this might need to be a community project.
Yes, indeed.
You know what? To me, the only one I think you have to worry about is Nook, because Nook seems to be on, number one bodyguard, and I think if like you said, if everybody gets involved, those that really need him out, Rob, Emmett, even Darnell, and they all, they can corral the two of them, and you just take out Douda. I don't think Nook is going to do anything. I think Nook is there because he too is as much afraid of Douda, and he knows his job, so he's going to do his job. I don't think you have to kill Nook, because I think if you got rid of Douda, Nook is out.
And Nook still has a soft spot for Kiesha too.
Yes, he does.
So that might be the way, because he still feels guilty that Kiesha got snatched up.
Exactly.
So and that might be a way.
That could be a way.
Nook, he's loyal physically, like he's going to show up for Otis every single time out of fear. But mentally, I don't think he's all the way there for Otis. That's why when Otis was talking about his successor, he was like, oh yeah, Nook, he ain't really got it in him like I do. And so I was like, I think it's because Nook is not really there, like mentally. In his mind, he probably like, I want to get away from this dude too.
Yeah.
So he got Otis got everybody against him at this point. Him against the world. And he went and pressured Emmett into a situation too. So now Emmett is holding all of this cash, and I'm like, it just gets worse and worse every week. So hopefully, Emmett can maintain that cash and nobody dips into it, either the kids or somebody else, because if that money comes up missing and Emmett can't account for it, that's not going to be a good look.
The biggest problem that he has holding that cash for Douda is Kiesha, because if Kiesha finds that money, it is all said and done. Because they're still going through their little beef. I don't know whether we call it marital growing pains or not, but they still got some issues to deal with on their own. And the last thing she needs to see is a bag full of money. And she's going to know exactly where it came from. And she's going to know exactly what he's doing with it.
I thought it would be very fitting if Tiff was the one that found out about the bag of money, because she's strapped for cash, talking about having to go into getting a second location to grow her weed project. So it's like, she's strapped for cash. Let's say maybe EJ stumbles upon this bag of money at Emmett's house and tells Tiff about it. And now Tiff is over there taking away this money that she don't even know where it came from. I'm like, well, what if that's a thing? Could that happen?
Well, how about this? I don't know about that, but certainly Tiff could come up to pick up, EJ, sees the bag of money. What's this? Looks in it, sees it, and then Emmett does something foolish and gives her an additional, give her some money out of there. Because, Emmett is not always thinking on, he doesn't have all both oars in the water. So, so I can see him, appeasing her just to get her. I don't know about Emmett and Tiff. There is something there that he can't break away from. And no matter how he tries, it's always.
They have a child together too. I mean, they were married. I mean, that's a
but I don't know that you got to do something. I mean, Emmett, you look at where you are, Emmett. And
look at him and look how he was pushing back on his dad. Now I know that for a while Darnell has not been the best role model. He has not been the best father figure and stuff, but he's trying, and I respect what he's trying to do now.
Right.
And so when Darnell was trying to give him that knowledge, you see that Emmett pretty much threw in his face his past mistakes and everything. And he said something. What he said something that was really real though too, because he was like, I didn't have that model of seeing, my mom working and struggling. I mean, I saw her struggling with me and stuff. I didn't see you doing that with a family, which is his current position now. But he's trying to hold his family down, trying to have a business and everything and stuff. So, interesting perspective.
It was, and I gave him kudos for even bringing it up to his dad. However, as we grow and become men, we all start at the same gate, and you have to decide for yourself what kind of man you're going to be. If you have kids and you have a wife, you got to decide what kind of man you're going to be with them. You can't always looking back in the past, there's nothing there for you. You got to decide what's my future going to be and where am I now? Where am I now, and what am I headed toward? And those are the things that I like about having this discussion that Victor has come up with, this heart to heart with men, because men have to have that discussion. And one other thing, I like the fact, I don't know how I felt about Darnell bringing up the issue that he had the gun. I know he had to do it, and I'm glad he did it, but let me say this, I didn't care for Emmett's response.
Right.
No, I didn't care for his response either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Emmett wanted the gun back. I think he was being short-sighted because, Darnell reminded him, he was like, you don't know what kind of bodies are on this gun.
Exactly.
You have no idea where it came from.
Exactly.
And he was saying, he gave him a compromise and was saying, like, look, I'll hold it for you. And if you really need it, you can come to me. And so I was like, I thought that was a way to meet in the middle. But Emmett still seems like he's not really down with that idea either. So I was just like, Emmett, he got to man up and really mature and start looking at the bigger picture. Even with Kiesha, because Darnell told him, like, what you mean she dropped your kids off on you?
Right. Like, those are our kids and your kids.
Exactly.
You babysitting your kids.
No, your kids.
Although, I was like, Emmett still is a little immature.
He is. He is.
But with Darnell, we have to understand, he said, hold it, I'll hold on to it until you need it. But it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. So because by the time you need the gun and you don't have it, that could be a bad situation. But the fact that that gun has body, you can almost bet the gun has body.
Oh, I believe that too. And look, I did you catch that Darnell said that I used to be in these streets?
In the street,
like, listen, I think if anybody, we already saw that he wasn't scared of Douda. He stepped to him last week and stuff. So I think if it came down to it, as he already said to Douda, you mess with, Emmett, his woman, the kids, it's up.
Yep.
It's up and it's stuck. So I think if push come to shove, he may step in for Emmett.
Yeah, it could happen. I can see that definitely. And we keep kind of touching on this conversation that the guys had. where they came together to have this conversation as men, kind of a safe space where they could express their different stressors and concerns in their lives. And we talked about Shad and Emmett, as well as Darnell a little bit. But Vic also brought up some valid points too about how much pressure it is being a leader in the community and trying to make a positive change, but nobody's really looking out for you and your needs. It's always what they want and their needs first, and it's a thankless job, like you said. So I really felt for him in that situation too. But I also, like you said, I felt for Shad, and I felt for Emmett too, where he was saying, you know, he felt like he didn't have positive leadership, and he was talking about the burden of always having to be the strong Black man. So I was like, those were very real conversations.
They all have valid points.
Yes. Even when it came down to Marcus talking about his woman issues and stuff like that, and his daughter. And I'm like, you know, that's real as well.
It is real. I mean, you know, I think I didn't know, she just left. I was going to say he a divorcee or whatever. I think from previous episodes, Jemma said that the wife just left or whatever, and just being a single dad. But when you are a divorcee or single parent or whatever, it is difficult to balance having a partner and having a child and stuff, and the needs of both and everything and stuff, you know.
Yeah, but women seem to do a better job at that. I mean, a woman would tell a man in a minute, look, you're not meeting my kids until I know where this relationship is going.
Yes, that's true.
A woman will put that down on a brother very quick.
That's true.
You know, and I, you know, and brothers, we got to be the same way. You know, you taking care of your daughter. Your daughter doesn't know anybody but the two of you. And now she's got this woman to deal with. She's all laid up in your house, and you paying all this attention to her.
That's still a struggle, even for women.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. I understand the struggle, but what I'm simply saying is, we brothers, we got to be a little tight on this thing, like women are, because a woman ain't gonna let you meet her kid off the bat. It's not gonna happen.
Right, you know? Right. But even still, you got to deal with like whether the kid likes the person. Like, you see how Jemma was getting to know him and all this other stuff, and you know, Jemma is a daddy's girl, and if you have a boy, like I have a son, that's just like having another father.
It ain't gonna happen overnight.
Run the relationship and stuff. So, you know,
and it's not gonna happen overnight. You know that. You're not gonna bring some dude up in there, or you know, and like it's like a flash flood. What was Jemma supposed to do? I mean, you know, she sees right away, she gets jealous because this woman is taking up a lot of time that she ordinarily would have had with her dad. So now let me say this. I get it. That's his house. He's the man. He should be able to do whatever he wants to. However, we have to take in consideration the child.
Yeah, you gotta ease into that. You gotta ease into that. You can't just throw the kids into the mix and stuff. Well, there is gonna be resentment.
And Tiara didn't help the situation.
No, she didn't.
I was about to say that because I was
Tiara
like,
she didn't. She ain't help.
You know,
that dinner that they had was about to be a hot mess.
Hot mess.
And I was like, you know, of course Darnell doesn't know any better, so he invites them all in the same room. And Deja seemed like she was throwing a little shade.
Yeah,
I was like,
like a hater a little bit. I was like, okay,
like, did she know something? I mean,
that's what she, you know what? Remember last season, it seemed like she picked up on Shad checking her out.
Yeah.
It seemed like ever since Deja has had a little,
because they almost broke up because of that.
Yeah, they did. Now we know what Shad did.
And we do.
Yeah.
But we see her here with another dude and stuff, but she just like, well, what is it that you do? And like she was being very judgmental and stuff too.
She called out the fact that she was basically a pass around. She was like, last time we saw you,
but it was a fake relationship. We do know, and I'm not caping for Tiara, but I'm just saying that we know she wasn't really doing that with Vic.
Right.
but appearances. So was she really a pass around? No.
Well, she was definitely with Roz.
She
was with Roz.
So I was like, and
she was with Roz. She was with Shad.
So I was like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't with Vic, but she definitely got passed around.
Oh well, yeah, she did. Well, on the low.
Right, on the low. But I was thinking, like, it's funny because I don't think that, Marcus even really knows Tiara that well. And here he is, like, so smitten in a relationship and talking about how serious he wanted to get. And I'm like, you have no idea, dude.
Yeah, he green. Because Tiara seemed like she could be treacherous. Like, she wants what she wants.
He better watch Tiara because honestly, I feel like he doesn't know her. And and when you talk about influences being around your daughter, okay, Jemma is still young and impressionable. We see Marcus kind of putting the pressure on her, in terms of like going to college and stuff like that. So she's still young and she's still trying to find her way. To have somebody like Tiara around, possibly influencing her in the way she behaves, I don't know if that's the girl you want around your daughter.
Right. And those things you got to pick up as a brother. I mean, I know it's been a long time, and I get it. I understand that, but you got to look at it. You got to see what you got, man, because while she's a very beautiful woman, but beauty ain't everything.
When they were in a men's group and Shaw said he was still lusting after the woman, I thought it was going to come out then.
Me too.
He was talking about Tiara. And then when she came to dinner with Marcus, I thought it was going to be an episode. So that was,
Shaw was cool though.
They kept it cool.
They kept it cool. Definitely, because I thought it was going to be a breakout moment, and
I did too. I was like, "Oh, this dinner's about to be."
Well, it might have been. Shaw played it off nice when he was like, don't ask her about that. But then he was like, "Well, I know how I feel when people ask me about my employment." And here comes Darnell. Well, you ain't got no job. Leave it to him.
Oh yeah, leave it to Darnell to break the ice with some jokes, because that's exactly what we needed.
He was straight up.
He was joking. I know he was. No, he was straight up with it, but it was funny. It was funny.
And what did you guys think about his sexy maid idea, male maids?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, what I thought about it. As soon as I heard it, I right. Let's forget that, okay?
Come on, we fixing pipe. We ain't laying them.
Right. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah, that was funny. Another thing, I was like, there might be a trouble in another relationship because we seen Dre run into her ex at work. And I was like, Dre played it cool this week and she was very loyal to Nina and saying, defending their relationship, saying how she was married. She didn't want to go out for coffee with the ex and whatnot. But when you are in a work environment and that person will constantly be around, it's only a matter of time before she wear you down.
And not only the fact that she's still smitten by that relationship, that past relationship. See, that right there is the biggest telltale sign if you really want to know. Because, and I don't remember her ex's, what's her name?
I don't think they ever stated her name.
Yeah, but she picked
Erica?
Was it Erica? She picked up on it though. She picked up on that, the fact that Dre, there's still something there.
Oh, Dre, they always do. And the people from the past always pick up on that. They pick up whether there's some room there to come back, if there's trouble in paradise. They know.
And the thing is, she wasn't just an ex, she was an ex-fiance. So I think it's a little bit more for Dre because it was like, dang, you married now and I wasn't good enough apparently. Like, why didn't you want to marry me? So it was kind of like an extra little sting on the sore. And I was
I think Dre about to be on some get back. Nina ready to get paid back for her for her transgression.
No, that's well, I think when she asked Dre, it's initially, is this going to be a problem? Dre should have said, yeah, it's going to be a problem. You need to go find another place to work.
Because think about that, because Tracy brought that girl in. Now I don't know if Tracy.
That's what I'm about to say.
I don't know if Tracy is aware that that's Dre's ex-fiance.
I don't think Tracy's aware.
If she had any inside knowledge, that's going to really screw up their friend group. I mean, it's going to do that anyway, because say Dre does cheat, Nina's going to be like, well, you brought this girl around. You introduced this into my marriage.
See, the other thing too about the cheat part is, I don't know I don't know how strong Dre is in terms of that ex being really out of her life, because I think if they do get together, it could be the end of Dre and Nina.
Oh yeah.
Because she
Yeah.
still has quite a bit of feelings for her ex, and we could see that in her face. We could see it in her body language. It was all over the place. You know, she still has a lot for that ex. We hope that she's a strong woman and she'll do what has to be. But you know, the heart wants what it wants.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she had been cheated on, I mean, they're still in therapy. They're still recovering.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
the wound is still fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. And, you know, we on the subject of these relationships. Fatima's friends were really in her ear about this relationship with Vic, and, you know, will you maintain your independence, or will you allow him to take care of you? And, you know, it was like this big conversation. They were really deep in her business.
Because they were messy. You know.
Yeah. They were.
Yeah, that's a fraudulent friend group. And, you know, you need to get back from that. You know, they're not your friends. You know, step away. You know,
they seemed genuinely concerned, but they were also very messy, like you said, in their concern. So they should definitely be conscious of how it's not necessarily of what you say, but how you say it, because they were coming on strong.
They were. And one of the friends looked like wasn't she on P Valley? The one with the purple hair.
The purple hair.
Think,
she did seem.
I think she's on P Valley.
Yeah,
but also, because they were talking about even up in their house when they were talking about Jake can go, Jake can move, and all this other stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. And Fatima was like, this is his house before I just moved here. But I like the way Jake set those folks straight.
Yes.
Disrespectful in the house. And everything. And that shut Fatima's friends down too, because they saw that Jake
was on top
of him. You know, a respectful young man, and he held
they
it down.
prejudged him.
Right.
They did prejudge him.
But that's the other thing I'm talking about. You know, you in somebody else's house and you making all kinds of judgments and giving all kinds of suggestions, which nobody asked for.
Right.
You know, y'all might need to step. You know?
Well, they shut up. They shut up after Jake said what he said.
Yeah, so that was a nice moment for him. Jake definitely shined in this episode for that reason. But you know, there was also the party that they had at Kevin's where they had a little game night or whatever, and they in there just smoking it up. And I'm like, you know, these kids, I mean, this is probably really what happens amongst the young people, I can imagine.
You can bet.
And so, you know, they're in there, and I thought the girl Kenya, she didn't really fit in amongst the friends. You know, she kind of stuck out, and I feel like that's going to be a problem for Papa, because he's going to
preacher kids, you know. So she's like, she was like, nah, I don't smoke.
But there's another
and Papa
problem.
has always had a different set of morals.
Right, but there's another problem that you know, I saw with Papa, you know, at the bowling alley, and you know, and then she kissed Papa. But then at the little, you know, at their little gathering, you know, she's like, I'm not your girlfriend.
Not your girl, Papa.
Yeah. And see, so now I got an issue with you. Now you can't be like, you know,
she's sending mixed signals.
I started to say something, but I'm not going to say it.
You should have said that out loud.
Well, yeah, I mean, she could have kept that.
Where everybody was.
And not the fact that she said it, but it's how she said it.
Yeah.
It's like nasty.
No,
she played him in front of his friends too. Like, I'm not your girl, Papa.
Okay, so let's not be a hypocrite. So, you know, if that's not how you feel about Papa, then you end up just kissing him in the center lane at the bowling alley, you know, so that anyone and everyone that was there could see it, which obviously what couples do. And then you're gonna retreat at that little gathering as if y'all just straight up friends. Got a problem with that. See, if it were me, that's one and done. One and done.
Yeah, I agree. She definitely switched up on him. And that's why I was like, I don't know if this is going to be everything that he thought it was in terms of this relationship. And especially if what we think happens with Stanley is going to happen, you know, Papa really is going to need some support, because that's going to crush him.
That's going to be devastating.
Well, you know what?
The friends are going to be more important than ever before in helping him to make it through that if it happens.
And I'm not going to lose sight of that, but you know, these shows have a way of sending you a straight up curveball. So we got Papa Jackson or Pastor Jackson, but we also got Shaw. Shaw put Douda down twice.
Yep.
So it could be either one, but I'm leaning towards Pastor.
I think Papa is out of here. Papa Stanley is up out of here.
Because
we heard Douda say, take care of him.
He's the obvious choice. So,
yeah.
you know, if it's a curveball, I think it'll be Shaw.
Oh, it could be more than one.
No, it could. Well, that's true too.
There could be multiple deaths this season.
There could
because it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, but I think right now, I feel like, you know, Papa Stanley is getting a lot of screen time too, and everything. And I just feel like everything. Yeah, I think everything. We're moving towards that moment. I think he's going to be up out of here. And I wanted to go back to the party because those dynamics were really interesting. You know, just the dynamics between the kids, and not just with the Kenya and Papa thing. Like you can see. There was some underlying tension with like Jemma and like about her the career stuff. And then when Kevin slipped and said, I would never cheat on you to Maisha, that was funny because everybody says like, what are you talking about? that was funny. And the part that cracked me up was Jake, like when Kenya got up to open the window because of the smoke. Jake was like, girl, it's cold outside.
Yeah, so I think you're right about that, like the friendships being tested, but specifically between Maisha and Jemma, because like they were really trading shots at each other. And when they were in the studio, you know, you could tell that Jemma was frustrated because Maisha hadn't had a hit that was really going to catch on like she wanted. And of course, she's under the pressure of her father as well. So she's desperate for something that's gonna prove to him, like, no, I can still keep doing this.
But she needs to control her anger or her frustration, and really just tell Maisha the truth. You know, what you're doing isn't working. They, you know, the guys in the production studio, they already told, you know, they told Jemma what the deal is. So tell her.
Like it's good, but it's not, you know.
It's not industry standard or whatever, you know, it's not out, it's not going to make it mainstream. So let her know that. Let her know that she may have to change up on some things, you know, instead of just walking away being angry because she was angry the whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Maisha said that she was okay if she had to just go back to going to school and getting a degree or something like that. And I was like, well, you can't really, I mean, it's always good to have a backup, but when you are in the industry where you got to constantly be grinding, you can't have the attitude that I'm okay with quitting.
Well, does she have to quit though? I mean, I don't think she has to quit. She could do both, but I think
she made it seem like she was okay with being done with the music and just doing school. And I was like, that's a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know, you know.
Because any other time she does seem passionate about it. And that's why I was like, oh, okay.
Listen, you know, watching that whole thing hits home for me because y'all know my son is in music and trying to be in the industry and things like that. And of course, we had the same conversation about college and everything. He did both.
Exactly.
He did both. Because I asked him to do, but I wanted him to still have something to fall back on him. Right. But for him, as Jemma said, there was no backup plan. He was in school saying like, all right, Ma, I'm going to school, but my goal is this. He was saying that in school, like, and this is fine. My dream. And I was like, well, look,
and that's fine.
You finish school,
which he did. He finished school.
You can follow your dreams,
exactly.
And stuff. So he did both.
Your son finished school, and then now he's enjoying what the life he wants to, and he's moving forward. So they can do both. It's just right. So you know. But for Maisha, is singing. Your son had a passion for singing. That was his passion. School was secondary to him, but he knew he had to get through it. Yeah. So for Maisha, what's your passion? If your passion is going to school, then go to school, and let singing be a hobby. If singing is your thing and that's what you want, then hey, that's fine. It can be your passion, but having that paper, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I
he felt
agree.
like that was not a backup plan. He was like, there's no backup plan. The music is my plan, so I felt a lot of what was going on in this episode.
Yeah. And so, I think, like you said, it's going to have to be a situation where you can do both at the same time. But Maisha and Jemma definitely need to get on the same page in terms of their communication, because otherwise there's not going to be a business relationship or a friendship. They are going to blow themselves up.
Right.
So, and I think even more so because, Jemma definitely mentioned it to Jake. Did you see Kevin and what he said on it? Like, they both picked up on it, and she mentioned it outside of the group. So I wonder if she's gonna feel a way about that too, like you mentioned last week, Tiffany, about her, being maybe a little, I don't know, feeling a way because Maisha messing with her ex. I don't know. That could also be a sore spot for them.
That, I think she's happy for Jake because we saw that, Jake got his own clothing line, which is cool. Mm-hmm. He's an entrepreneur himself. And then, a rapper was wearing his clothing line. So she was happy for him. But I think in the same breath, she was like he's starting to shine. I'm trying to do my thing too. And like you said, she has the pressure of her dad saying, you got into a graduation to get this thing going, or you're going to school. So I think that was also a reminder that, she needs to get this thing up and running.
I think it's going to be a problem too, because the content of the lyrics that the dude was rapping, and she was like, oh, his lyrics kind of like raunchy, like these are kind of misogynistic.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jake said that's what's popular right now.
Yeah, he was like, you gonna have to talk about, you gotta step up your game or do something else.
So that I think is going to be a problem, because I think that Jemma's going to pressure Maisha to try to blend into this era of music, or this kind of vibe of music that maybe doesn't align with who she is. So I was like, that's also a thing in the music industry now. We see so many people complaining about the type of music that's out, and the effects of it on attitudes. So I was like, they hitting it home this season with a lot of these points that they making in this show.
It's real talk, and that's exactly what I love about particularly this season. So we're getting a lot of real talk, and that the conversation with the brothers getting together and things like that. Initially I thought, where is this going? But it really came around full circle, and I loved the conversations that they were having. But more importantly, it did seem to be therapeutic. So we'll see if that continues.
I hope that people take a note from this in real life and start doing that their own friend group.
Absolutely.
Because it's very necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, speaking of that, our very own Ron is going to be doing a men's group on Vacay J's channel to talk about the Shy. So y'all tune into that. I think that's on Sunday.
6 p.m. And 6 p.m. on Sunday. And I'm really honored to be a part of it, because it's something that's been on my heart. We have a lot of youth killing, black on black crime, youth, and a lot of it has to deal with the fact that these young guys, they just don't have a place to go or someone to share some very, intimate, personal stories with. And so I think it is real talk, and I think it's very much needed.
Absolutely. So I'm glad y'all are doing that. That's gonna be dope. So I'll be tuned in. I hope y'all tune in too. Like you said, Vacay J on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think that's good, because a lot of times, like, women, we always have other ladies that we can confide in, and we'll get together and talk. Like you see on this show, you see the ladies getting together and having their wine and snacking and chatting and talking and stuff. And a lot of times for you fellas, I don't know that you always have a safe space like that, where you can really be vulnerable. Like, y'all talk to your boys, but there's only certain things that that you can say before you might mess around and get roasted by your boy.
No, that's right.
For saying something or thinking that you soft or whatever. So I appreciated the vulnerability in that men's circle and stuff. And I think that it should be celebrated.
And remember, it was something that I wanted to bring up for this show, because I think men are so much misunderstood, and it's societal's pressures that make it so. But we are very much misunderstood, and we would like to share our information, but we have to have a place that's safe, because men are looking for that safety net, that comfort, and it has to be there.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite parts of the episode this week. But like we called out our predictions already, and we said that it's very likely the next episode there's gonna be some slow singing and flower bringing. And, I think that it's gonna be Papa Daddy in the casket.
That's
so
funny.
I'm definitely looking forward to next.
If not next episode, the next couple episodes, because
Right.
it's about to go down. I'm like,
Okay.
that was an omen at the end of that episode.
Yeah.
So before we go, who gets the hands this week?
Oh, this
Douda.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we don't even have to discuss Douda.
Douda always gets the hand.
He's 24/7. He's got the hand. He's, in fact, like I said, I think we ought to rename it Douda. But yeah, he gets the hand.
Yeah, Douda definitely gets the hands. Who you giving the game ball to? Because I thought about Jake, and how he stood up and
Jake.
Yeah, did a good job.
I think Darnell. I like
Darnell.
Shoot, the whole men's group, for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
The men's group can have the game ball. I really appreciate.
Yeah, definitely.
How they what they did, and Vic for even bringing it up, and maybe Vic, for introducing that concept to the fellas.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Agreed. Okay, well, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I think we all did. Definitely looking forward to next week, though. I don't know if we're gonna get what we want, but it's always sure to be good with this show. So looking forward to that. Please, guys that are watching right now, drop down in the comment section and give us your thoughts on this episode, as well as your predictions for next week or the remainder of the season. Also, make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are at The Spot Real Talk on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those things. So follow us there. Be sure to like the video and subscribe. Share our channel with your friends and family. And make sure you're tuned in when Ron goes on Vacay Jay's channel on Sunday at 6 p.m. So do those things. We greatly appreciate it. Again, do you guys have any other things that you want to say before we close out?
Good.
Okay, well, on that note, we are going to call it a night, and we will see you next week for episode 5. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate.